A very good day to our viewers and welcome to the 1873 TV, your vision, your power. My name is Tinashe Mpasiri. On this very good day on the 1873 TV, we bring you yet another insightful and informative show on Shabhani Mashaba Mine's SMM Special Part 13. What we'll be looking at, we'll be looking at a document that is basically the inquiry, which is also dubbed the inquiry undertaken by the administrator of SMM in terms of the Reconstruction of State Indebted Insolvent Companies Act, which is, the Act. Joining me this afternoon in our studios in Rivonia, I happen to be joined by Mr. Mtumwadzia Mawere. Mr. Mawere, a very good day to you and welcome to the 1873 today.
Yeah, good afternoon, thank you.
We also joined by Mushana Murefu, who is on our Skype line. Mushana, a very good day and welcome to the 1873 TV.
Good afternoon to you, Tinashe, and your viewers.
It is indeed a great afternoon. And to those of you who are following us on Zimbabwe today, as you are wondering maybe where you can be able to get these documents, you can simply get them by going to the 1873 Facebook page, where they are being also shared. This document is being shared, the inquiry undertaken by the administrator of SMM in terms of the Reconstruction of State Indebted and Insolvent Companies Act. So, Mr. Mawere, we will be looking at this inquiry. Mm-hmm. What is the sole purpose of looking at this inquiry for the benefit of those who are tuned in, and why they should remain tuned in?
I think that's to look at the provisions of the Reconstruction Act that permits an administrator to examine witnesses. Is not imagine you liquidate a company. The liquidator is given powers to be a commissioner in a matter that the liquidator is administering. The powers that are given to the administrator in this case are extraordinary. And if you look at it, it says the inquiry undertaken by the administrator of SMM in terms of the Reconstruction of State Indebted Insolvent Companies Act. This is a transcript of the examination of witnesses undertaken by the commissioner appointed by the administrator as part of the inquiry. The master of the High Court, who is a functionary of state, ordinarily is the one who appoints.
Who appoints a commissioner in
a commissioner to investigate the affairs of a company. You can't then allow the same person who is administering a supposedly insolvent company being the one who is leading, or who is got the power to appoint another person. Imagine an agent appointing another agent.
Obviously, that particular agent that will be appointed in this particular, just in my thinking, that person will not be impartial at all. They will be biased towards whom has appointed them.
Even the permission of, even if you are not biased, you are already an interested party.
Yes.
In the affairs of the company. What if the company was not insolvent and you have been appointed to kill it? Who is going to advise the minister or the court unless you have an independent, impartial and detached practitioner?
Mm-hmm.
Then if that practitioner has got the power to delegate the powers that are already delegated, what are the implications? So you're double delegation. And in attendance, you have Wesley Sibanda, who works with Gwarazimba. Mm-hmm. He appoints a fellow worker with him, who is not independent of him. Number 2, Patrick Sanyamaropa, AMG again, Reslin Dana, AMG again, Peter C. Moyo, SMM, under reconstruction, under him again. Edwin Manikai, Due Manikai was a legal practitioner, an interested party. Pride Mo Masamba, DMH. Milanda Matimati, DMH, the law firm. Advocate Christo Botma, South African counsel. You import a counsel from South Africa to come and preside over the affairs of a Zimbabwean company. Kirsty L. Young, Brinko and Leroux, she's the same person who is still handling the SMM matter.
She's now Kirsty Simpson.
Yeah, she's now also working for ENS, Edward Nathan Sonnenberg. Samantha Van Breda, BCLR. So these are the three white people from South Africa who are brought in to be part of this charade, what you can call a kangaroo court. So how does the proceedings start? Mr. Sibanda, who is chairing this on behalf of what? Of Gwaradzimba. Mr. Moyo was a witness called in terms of section 10.2 of the Reconstruction Act. Mr. Moyo has been summoned to attend this inquiry by the administrator of SMM Holdings Private Limited. And the administrator was appointed by the minister. Now he's giving himself the powers to appoint somebody else. So it says to attend the inquiry by the administrator who has issued a subpoena for you to attend the inquiry in terms of section 10.2. A subpoena, the power to subpoena somebody, is now delegated to somebody who represents the judiciary. Somebody appointed by the minister is now clothed with this power. Can you confirm whether you have received the subpoena? Yes, I confirm receipt of this fictitious and I don't know what you call it. Is it a subpoena? I wake up in my house and I just issue a subpoena for you to come to attend a meeting. And failing with, you go to prison.
Shouldn't the subpoena come from a court of law?
This is even the master of the High Court. There must be some separation of powers that would allow somebody to subpoena you. Imagine I'm subpoenaed by this commoner. He says the power to subpoena and the consequence of not appearing, there's a legal sanction. Yeah? Somebody calls you to a bribe and you don't appear, you end up in prison. And the power to imprison you, because a subpoena must have consequences.
Yes.
And in this act, the administrator is given powers. Then the Minister of Justice, what did Shinamasa say in his affidavit? It was akin to judicial management. No judicial manager has got the power
to subpoena.
In this case, the power is delegated. I, Wesley Sibanda, of AMG Global Chartered Accountants, AMG Global, have in terms of Section 11...
Yeah, I think we see this thing continuing even today, where this kind of system is being used under ZIMRA, when people are importing things into Zimbabwe. It should be the business of ZIMRA, the customs department, to actually make sure people are bringing in what they say they're bringing in, checking them, and making sure people pay customs duty for those things. But we now see that there is a company that has been given an extra mandate by the ministry, which after people have gone through the ZIMRA process, they will have to go through that company and also pay for those services that that company is providing, which is very peculiar if you think about it. But it's exactly the same kind of concept we are seeing here.
The power to limit your rights and the power to subpoena you. Have you ever seen that power being given to a private person? By the minister.
Well, this is what we are seeing in Zimbabwe, isn't it? Where
no, I'm saying
things like this are happening, and it's crazy because you do have structures in place already. Like you said, you've got the master of the High Court,
yeah,
who's supposed to do those things. But now we are finding that it's now being invested in another individual through an act or through a process that is outside the structures of the law. Because if we look at even the construction of that law, it is actually contradictory to what the Constitution says. Maybe this is a matter that we shall talk about later.
That's right.
But it's quite interesting. Yeah.
So I think that's it's important to note what you have said. That we're just using SMM as an example of how things can go wrong and how issues can be manufactured and go off track. So we then go through and to preside over this inquiry as commissioner, and the officials from Due Manikai and Wacha, legal practitioners, Brink, Coy and Leroux Incorporated, attorneys from South Africa, and AMG Global, and Christo Botma in attendance, who constitute this commission of inquiry. So South African lawyers are brought in to be part of a commission in relation to a matter in which they are supposed to be legal advisors. They become the judge and they become the advisor at the same time. And they accept this. And their issue is the lawyer becomes an interested party in gathering evidence on behalf of the administrator for the purpose of identifying culpable persons in terms of Section 10(1) of the Reconstruction Act. The evidence to be gathered in this inquiry will cover issues relating to SMM, its subsidiaries and associates, collectively the SMM group, and their subsidiaries and associates, and each the SMM associate. So all these powers now, you are given the power to investigate the father, the son, the grandson, and everybody that may be connected to that person. Do you see the construction, Mushana? Hello?
Hello, Mshana. Hi, Mshana.
Yes, I completely follow.
You completely follow that. Now you are now given there's something called a group, but legally nothing is called a group. Even a family itself is not a legal term. I can't say the murder was committed by the family. Then I go and issue warrant of arrest to the family for the purpose of complying with Section 10(10) of the Reconstruction Act. Mr. Pride Mo Masamba will administer the oath on you. This is a whole kangaroo court taking place in a constitutional state. And they say, somebody says volume change, I don't know whether it's addressed. For For the volume, those who want a TV, I guess you can write to them and say,
Okay, I'll share with those individuals so that they can be able to get us clearly as we have this conversation.
so he takes an oath. Please state your full names, then stated. So help me God, Mr. Manikai then asks, Mr. Moyo, the commission will direct itself to corporate governance structures at ARL, SMM, and the Zimri Group. Mr. Moyo, could you tell the inquiry when you joined SMM, the capacity in which you were employed and your role? I joined SMM in 1998 as Group Secretary to work on secretarial services, legal, administrative, and human resources issues of the group. My role as Group Secretary, my role, as Mr. John Mukush said when I was recruited, was to cleanse the mess that was there in the secretarial department, which had gone down. There were 40 companies with no returns and no minutes. The pension funds was in a serious mess. I sat down with Mr. Hampshire and discussed the turnaround of the pension fund. It was decided after the board had sanctioned it that the pension fund was to be converted into a defined contribution scheme. On the human resources issues for the head office, there was no returns to NASA. I sat down and updated it. On the legal issues, they were not being attended to, and there were quite a number of companies which had been formed locally, for example, Ngezi Shipping Consolidated Holdings, which were in shambles. We revived them, and most of them were closed, and they were not adding value to SMM. This is now the doctor of what? Of returns, and the doctor of corporate governance. Mr. Manikai then asks, you were employed as group secretary for SMM and ARL. I was considered the company secretary for ARL, SMM, and other companies of the group. At the time that you joined, what was the structure in terms of ownership? It was primarily as it is, with TNN being the shareholder with two arms, that is SMM UK and THZ UK, the two being registered in the UK. Can you imagine? Mr. Mshana, this is a company secretary who is saying TNN was a shareholder when he joined in 1998. What is your take?
Hello, Mushana. Mushana.
Maybe, yeah, Tinashe, you can add there.
Okay, I mean.
Well, I think perhaps you could clarify that.
We have just gone through the papers in the previous series
where we established when SMM was acquired, and now for Mr. Moyo, who happens to be the company secretary, the very individual who has records of all this.
Yeah.
Of all this information pertaining to shareholders, be it shareholders agreements, share certificates, to state that the company, when he joined, TNN was the shareholder. I find it quite absurd, to be honest.
So the conspiracy begins there then.
Yeah, the man says he found everything in shambles. Huh? And he doesn't even know.
So in your view, in light of this, where you've got the group secretary, telling lies,
yeah,
in this kangaroo court,
yeah,
What do you think the motive was?
No, he's part of a conspiracy. He is actually the one of the principal actors in this conspiracy. So he's not independent of this scheme. Then
I must say my connection is not very good. It keeps breaking up.
okay, can you hear us now?
I can hear you intermittently.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can hear you from a separate device, but then it's delayed.
Oh, it's delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear there's some delay there. Okay, the SMM UK, under SMM UK, we had SMM Holdings Private Limited, Zimbabwe. Then it was known as Shabhani Mashaba Mines, but it changed its name after the acquisition of the former Acacia companies in 1997. Then Mr. Manikai asks, you started with ARL BVI, replacing TNN as the group parent. Then SMM and TH UK on the one side, and from the SMM UK you cascade to SMM Zimbabwe. He never mentioned anything to do with what? ARL BVI. But Manikai now is correcting him. Then Mr. Moyo says, that's where Angel was. UKI was placed under THZ. That's the top structure for the SMM group? Manikai asks. Moyo responds, yes. Who controlled the group? Manikai asks. SMM then had Hampshire when I joined. He was the managing director of THZ Zimbabwe. John Mukushu was the managing director of SMM and was also the chairman of TH Zimbabwe. Godfrey Gomwe was the chairman of SMM and chief executive officer of ARL, whilst Mr. Mawere was the chairman of ARL. Manikai then asked, what was the scenario on the TH side? I didn't get involved in it, says Moyo. I was the secretary for UKI for statutory purposes. I was not involved in the TH UK subsidiaries, but I was secretary of TH Zimbabwe. TNN had two subsidiaries. Where does TAP come in? Under THZ UK and Africa Construction. Operationally, SMM was involved. Africa Construction was sold to ARL. By who? It's not said. Manikai then says, wasn't it the same deal that brought TAP under ARL? Mr. Moyo says, Africa Construction was hived away straight away. Like it was stolen. But Africa Construction was the shareholder and remains the shareholder of SMM Holdings UK. So on that point, because we have come to the end of the show, we will proceed with it in the next segment. So we can see that how this conspiracy was what? Was concocted and orchestrated.
To the viewers out there, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Be sure to join us tomorrow afternoon between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. We will definitely have a full hour instead of the 30 minutes that we had to showcase today. And Mushana, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on the 1873 TV, as you also added your views pertaining to this conversation that we are having, as we try to better understand what is contained in this document, which is known as the inquiry undertaken by the administrator in terms of the reconstruction of state-indebted insolvent companies act. Mr. Mawere, thank you so much for also joining us this afternoon, and we definitely look forward to viewers making contributions or also participating in the conversations. If you have any questions that you want to ask, please feel free to ask those questions through the social media platforms that have been provided. The 1873 TV Facebook page, which you can also like, and also encourage other people to like. And the 1873 TV is an initiative of the 1873 Network, a member-based association of forward-leaning individuals who believe that the connected individual, the equipped individual, has got better opportunities to life, to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities. It's through conversations like this we can be able to build communities as well as institutions that can best serve us. Thank you for joining us, and keep locked into the 1873 TV as we'll be bringing you music literacy #ChangeTheWorld campaign. Goodbye for now.